So thanks everyone for coming. So BC finished last season 20-12 and 11-7 in the ACC with a program record for ACC wins. The Eagles open up Wednesday, November 25th against New Hampshire at Conti. Tip is set for noon. Coach Mack, if you'd like to make an opening statement, and then we'll take questions.
Sure. I think this year, with the craziness that 2020 has brought us, I think one of our calming salvations is our basketball team and getting to be together every day, getting to work hard. So as crazy as it was beginning with wearing masks and having a social distance to now getting to a point where, yes, the coaches are still masked up and the players are masked up at times, but they're able to get after each other. There's still that fear, of course, of being quarantined or contracting the virus, but the joy of playing and getting to be together and returning a lot of our scoring and having, I think, the most mature team we've had since I've been here, it is really exciting. So we're getting after it every day, and we're looking forward to the 25th.
Awesome. And then if you want to ask questions, just please raise your digital hands and we'll call on you. We'll start with Rich.
Thank you. Hi, Coach. Congratulations on being Coach of the Year last year. And it's kind of like to start with that. You kind of raised the bar at this program right now, finishing tied for fourth. What are the expectations? How have they increased going into the season?
Yeah, I think, they always say with great expectations comes a lot of responsibility. And so our players really understood that, and where things were very limited to them this summer as far as resources goes, with gyms and places to work out, I think they still took what they have to do and what's expected of them very seriously. So they found a way, whether it was doing push-ups, sit-ups, things like that on their own. But they came back, I believe, pretty prepared and ready. And, having players returning like Taylor Soule, who was the ACC most improved player, that even looks that much more improved. We saw a big improvement from freshman to sophomore year. I see that same kind of improvement from sophomore to junior year. Marnell Gerard has really worked hard. You can tell defensively she's improved her quickness and her consistency from the three-point line. So every player has stepped up, and I think we're going to have some good surprises in players like Clara Ford, who has had to learn under Emma Guy and really had restricted minutes the last couple of years because she played behind such a great player. Well, now I believe this will be her time to shine, along with our sophomores that coming in like a Cuna Conquo, who you guys haven't got to see because of her her Achilles tear. That's going to be something that I think should surprise some people with her agility and with her size, being able to get up and down the floor. And then we're really excited about Jalen Batts, who's coming back with some good pizzazz to her game as well.
Okay, next we'll go to Esteban.
Hey, Coach. You touched on this a little bit, but I was just wondering, obviously with the pandemic, what has been sort of the biggest challenge for you and your coaching staff to get to this point?
I think the biggest challenge was, like we said, during the summer, we usually get to spend 8 quality weeks with our team. And those weeks are important, not just to prepare their bodies for the longevity of the season, but also to get our team chemistry off the court down to where they only have 1 or 2 classes apiece. So we get to spend a lot of time together. We didn't get that this year, but they did a nice job making time for Zooms, and we did some team Zooms, but it's inevitably not the same. So I think that was probably the hardest hurdle to get over. But now since we've been together, I think we're making up for lost time for sure.
Thank you.
Next we'll go to Dan.
Hey, Coach, good to see you. For the schedule this year, I know it's very different with different regions, and your region in particular is Louisville, Notre Dame, Syracuse, and Pitt. 3 of those 4 teams I know are annually ranked or close to the top ranking. Could you just touch upon the difficulty that you guys are going to have with the schedule and playing some of these teams, more often than you maybe would in a normal season?
Right. I think, what you didn't mention was they threw NC State at us twice as well this year. So we definitely have a challenging season. But like I said before, I think our players, they came to Boston College because of the great education, but they also came to play in the ACC and to have that kind of challenge put forth. So we're really excited. I mean, if we want to showcase what we're made of, you really have to go against the best. And we're going to be able to do that night after night in the ACC here.
Next we'll go to Bill.
Hey, Bill. You're muted.
Yep, there we go. How you doing, Coach? The first question that I have is, we've talked a bit about keeping that underdog feeling, even when you may not necessarily be underdogs anymore. I'm curious if where you were picked in the preseason poll is kind of the perfect spot, because it was high enough that, like, okay, some folks respect what you did last year, but lower than a team that maybe finished where you finished last year usually would, if there's enough of a chip on your shoulder that you guys can get about people still kind of not being willing to place you guys as one of those top few contenders in the preseason.
Yeah, Bill, you put it perfectly. You know our team. So I think it was just that where we were placed was definitely where I could talk to our players and say, hey, are you guys satisfied with that? And they're like, no, we believe we're better. So that was good. But then also, I think it was a respectable place to be put, where it's not like where we were the last couple of years. So we've showed that we've improved, but I think we still have the chip on our shoulder to show that we can do a lot more.
And then I also wanted to ask you about cuna, and it's been a little while since we last chatted. So curious how she's continued to develop with now extended preseason practice she didn't get last year, knowing that she's someone who's going to have to, play a lot of minutes in the one position where you lost all your depth from last year.
Yeah, I think, cuna has definitely came and understands what she needs to do to get to be a great player on our team. But like I've also mentioned, I think Clara Ford has really put in the time. And this summer, you can tell she came back in the best shape she has been in. And her strength is really improving. So I think between those two players, they're going to work really hard to maintain the success that we've had down low. And they're both smart players. So I think Emma has taught them well. I think getting to watch a great player like Emma over the last couple of years really, really helped improve their IQ on the floor and really their grit that they know we have to have. Because, for us, our 5 is a really smart player. You can't have somebody just in there as a rim protector. They're a really vital part of our offense. And those two players are really stepping up to that challenge.
Next we'll go to Rich.
Rich, you're muted.
Oh, there we go. So I was just looking at the roster. It looks pretty guard-centric right now. How are the 2 freshman guards that are coming in, and how are they going to help you out?
Yeah, Kayla Ivey is, to be honest, I think as she progresses in our system, she will be one of the best point guards in the country. So you guys heard it first. She's really good. She has a great IQ for the game. She's a communicator. She's a pass-first point guard that can shoot from the 3 and has nice pull-up jumpers. So she kind of brings all of those to the table. But she is still a freshman, so I think she's going to grow into her playing time this year. And then JoJo Lacey on the perimeter is a 5-star recruit for us that I think has that little bit of confidence to her game, that when she's out there, she knows she can score. And, we're teaching her all the college facets, which is how to play defense at this level and making sure she can crash the boards and grab rebounds. But she's coming in with that kind of chip on her shoulder that says, hey, I can do this and I want to play and be a factor this year. So I see both of them really getting in and getting great minutes as freshmen.
Now we'll go to Dan.
Coach, you mentioned, just the development of Clara and of cuna, but what is the role that Coach Yo has played in that too, from an assistant coach standpoint, having her experience? I know she had a great relationship with Emma, but how have you seen her relationship develop and spill over with Clara and cuna?
Yeah, absolutely. Coach Yo pours herself into the post players and really makes herself available to them. And we're very fortunate, me and her talk all the time, that we have players that are willing to take advantage of her, right? So they're in her office watching film. They get her before and after practice to spend an extra 15, 20 minutes so they can work on their back to the basket moves. And the great thing is she does a nice job teaching them the little tricks of the trade. So who better to get the tricks of the trade from than one of the greatest of all time at what they do? And so Yolanda really brings that presence, and that she also has this fun factor to her that make our post players really enjoy the grind of their job. So I'm thankful every day that she's willing to put that time into them. And like I said, on the flip side, I'm thankful that our players take advantage of it.
All right, let's go to Julian.
Hi, Coach.
Hi, how are you, Julian?
I've been kicking. Doing all right. Kind of a simple one. So I remember reading, I think Richard wrote it. Last year, you guys asked Taylor to be more impactful rebounder. That happened quickly. How much more can you get out of her game? And then how immediate can those things kind of be, you know?
Well, one thing that she worked really hard on over the summer was, last year, a lot of times players were able to back off her a little bit defensively and give her a lot of cushion, which sometimes would mess things up when she was on the weak side because her player would be able to be all the way and help clogging things up. And so what we really asked her to do was improve your outside shooting, improve the ability to knock down a 15 to 18 footer. And, right now, I know we haven't had the pressure of what the game and what the lights of the game bring. But, for her right now, a 15 footer might as well be a layup. She really took that to heart and worked hard over it over the summer. So I'm very proud of her and her ability to take that next step in her game. And that's what it was to be able to hit that, mid-range outside shot.
And next we'll go to Rich.
Hey, Coach, over the years, you used November basketball to kind of play some regional rivals, play in a tournament, AC Big Ten Challenge, stuff like that, and to get ready for the ACC play. It looks like you're not going to have many dress rehearsals before you get to Georgia Tech. How do you coach and prepare the team to get right into the thick of the tournament so early? The season so early.
I think right now we take it day by day, and we try not to get too caught up in the little things, to be honest with you. This is one of those years, if 2020 has taught us anything, is maybe don't get so rattled by the little things and really stick to what we know, stay confident, build and support each other each day, and then know that, hey, we've got these very few opportunities to get ready for ACC play, so we better be getting ready for ACC play in each of our practices. And we've been super fortunate. So a big shout out to our scout guys. We have 5 to 6 scout guys that come every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then on Saturdays on their own time, and really have given us a great look at athleticism. And it helps us because it also saves wear and tear on our players' legs, but allows us to go against somebody different and get some competition.
Next we'll go to Bill Spalding.
I just got one more on the scheduling front. I know I'm not sure actually that all the non-conference games have been released yet, so I don't need you to give anything away, but how challenging was it to find teams regionally that fit the ACC testing protocol so that you were able to play them in the first place?
Right. I think it was, I'm going to say that Mike Gibson, our director of basketball ops, took a lot of that off of my plate. And so if you ask me, I'm like, oh, it was easy. But if you ask him, he might say, man, we had to work really hard to find these teams and to, and it was tough with the Ivy League and the Patriot League. And then the Big Ten canceling our challenge. So we did have some hurdles that we had to jump, but we did find some good schools that were fairly local, because that was one of the big things that I didn't want to do, was have to get onto an airplane or have somebody that traveled by air to come play us. We really wanted to keep it local for that reason, just to keep us safe, because getting into ACC play is what we're ultimately excited about.
Next we'll go to Dan Rubin.
Coach, in line with all of that, the network of coaches, the conversations that you've had both in the ACC and outside with the different coaches, how much of y'all relied on each other just in those conversations, in those meetings before the schedule's released, getting back, protocols, all that good stuff to, vent or just commiserate with one another over what's going on?
Yeah, it's funny. If I've had one call asking, what is your return to play protocol? What is going on? We all have the same questions to try to compare. And because we all want to have, we don't want to give anybody an advantage, right? So we all want to make sure we have the best advantage in that regard. But I also think there's a little secretiveness going around, oh, nobody's really saying if someone has possibly been contact traced or whatever, because we all want to seem like everything's great. So all of us coaches are pretty good at doing that. So it has been nice to have our friends in the business, though, to rely on, or sometimes just to vent to.
And now we'll go to Julian.
Hi, Coach. Hopefully this makes sense, right? But same thing with the schedule a little bit, but I looked at it and I was like, whoa, there's a lot of ats on that schedule. You know what I mean? And like you said, you got to get on planes and you got to, do things that you haven't had to do for months in a lot of cases. Have you had to talk to players just to kind of reassure them? Have you talked to your staff or whatever to say, hey, like, I know we're on the road, but this will work out, or we'll try to make it work as best we can, you know?
Yeah, I think nobody really has that much apprehension about traveling right now or going places. We're really excited to play. I think the most apprehension is about the one COVID test where the thing goes really far up your nose. No one is excited to go get that done. So if I have any worries, it's about when do we have to get that test? Because right now we got the easier test that just goes a little bit up your nose.
Right.
Outside of that, I just think we want our life to be as normal as humanly possible right now. And part of that normalcy is getting to go travel and play basketball. For us, that's what the winter brings. That's what this season is all about is basketball and getting to play games. So we're just continually, I think the more pressure is the scare of it ever being taken away from us again. We just don't want that.
All right, we'll go back to Rich.
Coach, I don't need an individual breakdown, but just a general comment on the recruiting class that got announced, released to us the other day about the kids coming in a year from now. Yeah,
I'm really excited. The recruiting class, as you could see, has a lot of diversity in it and has players at different positions that are really not just going to add size, but add some depth. And character-wise, I can't speak enough about the 4 that we just signed. They're really great athletes that come from really good families. So we're excited to make them a part of our family as soon as possible. And, our returners have been great in the recruiting process, making them feel welcome.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Coach? Oh, great. Thanks, Coach.
Hey, really appreciate you guys making the time to do this with us. We really appreciate it. Thank you.